One thing that I've personally even fallen victim to is thinking that the market's oversaturated. And, to be fair, it can be. I've said it time and time again. As technology keeps improving, the barrier to entry on video work really isn't that high. I mean, for $3,000 to $5,000, even sometimes less than that, you can get a high quality camera setup to do video work, and then you are a videographer. So, like, I guess you got to start branding yourself differently, because with that competition coming into the market, like there is a lot of people that are going to be gunning for your gigs and pitching them at a lot less, or like at a smaller rate, just to try and land it because they're new. I mean, if you've been in the game any point in time, you've probably had someone try to undercut you. So I guess here are three different ways that you can stand out in an oversaturated market. So first and foremost, your style is like your fingerprint. Me personally, I love watching like the super stylistic edits and everything like that. But at the end of the day, that's just not me when it comes to creating content. I mean, as you guys see these videos, they're pretty dry cut. And that's just how I've learned to shoot and how I've loved to edit, is just being more dry cut and clean when it comes to doing my things. Just quick shout out to this guy Baldo. He goes by Mara Plata on Instagram. It's a very good like comparison of like what I personally enjoy as a videographer, and then what I create is different. I can throw up a couple different examples here of like what he did for Riverfest versus the type of stuff that I did for Riverfest. Granted, they were two different scopes. He was just out there to create a fun recap, and I was doing quick turnarounds of daily recaps the next day. So he did have a little bit more time, but there's no excuse to it because, like, if I had all the time in the world, would I produce content like that? Probably not. Obviously, if the client's requesting something like that, then we can get it done, but that is not my style, and so that's not what I try to sell people. Where I'm going out with this is like, don't try to chase all these different trends and then your style's just going to look really weird because you've tried to chase all of these different trends. So just really, really stern on like, hey, this is what I do. Like for me, I like to kind of classify what I do as like that clean cut corporate look. Just because that's kind of where I've fallen into of like the niche that I'm working in. A lot of these clients don't care about the crazy color grading or the crazy edits. They just want clean stuff that will convert leads. So moving on to the next thing, we have, so shoot with your client's audience in mind. Like this is a major one. Again, I see so many people and I've talked to videographers and I just want to just strangle them because, they're like, if they don't like what I'm doing and they don't like me for me, then I don't want to work with them, which is fair, valid. Don't bend and shake too much for clients if you don't need to. Um, but also, you got to shoot with your client's audience in mind because if your client's audience isn't converting, they're not going to come back to you. Like your client won't come back to you if their audience isn't converting. I mean, it's at the end of the day, we're not just selling video here. We're selling leads, we're selling conversions, we're selling sales for them. So you got to really make sure that that's a focus of yours is, hey, like research your client, see what's converted well in the past. And if they don't have any like case study content, then try shooting a bunch of different content in different styles and see what works for them. Like there's no need to like really stick down to one lane if it's not really working. Like, and you don't want to force your client into a different style that's not going to work for them just because that's how you shoot. And it kind of falls back on that last point of like, you know, a more stylized edit might work for an artist or like an edgier type of company, but like a clean cut commercial, like real estate client doesn't need music video style effects on their content. So, it might work for a couple different times because, it's so different, but also, if their audience doesn't normally see that and doesn't convert with it, then you shouldn't be forcing it. Um, I've talked to too many creatives lately. I say too many, but it's realistically been probably 3 out of 10 where they've been like really sticking to their guns. And I'm like, stop, dude. Like, if you're wanting to work in the corporate world, you're going to have to bend it and shake a little bit because, it's not all about you, dude. Like, that's one thing I learn all the time is I'll send off an edit where I'm in love with it, and then the client's like, change the music, change this clip, change that clip, and it's not exactly what I envisioned for it, but it's what they wanted. And it's one of those things. Like, obviously, if it's beyond reason, I'm gonna say something like, I might give a little kickback and kind of justify why I did it versus theirs. But it's very rare that I do that because sometimes I'm gonna do what the client wants, so they come back to me. So moving on to the final point of this one is let people see you. So with this, I mean, if you guys are following me on Instagram, you probably got annoyed with the 9 different behind the scenes videos that I did for Riverfest. But it's one of those things where, we were pumping out so much content that, you know, I didn't want to get my personal content lost in the mix. So, I took my GoPro and mounted it on different parts of my camera setup to show like what I'm seeing throughout the day. Because at the end of the day, like everyone's seeing these recaps is seeing the camera footage, which is great. But also, like, I always enjoy watching like the POV videos, like those awkward like 0.5 shots of people when they're working. It's funny, it's different. And so like show off like the behind the scenes of what you're doing. Not only is it just different and like scroll stopping type of content, but also, it kind of places you as an expert within your industry. If you're showing off like, okay, hey, this is the lighting setup that we did, this is why we're doing it, this is how we did the audio, like, etc. Like, there's so many different ways that you can do this that will like kind of place you as the expert within your industry. So another reason too to be creating content like this is it helps build that personal connection with your content. Because as videographers, if all we're doing is posting the work that we're doing, we're not sitting in front of a camera talking, or we're not like interacting with our followers, we're not gonna grow as creatives as much. Like, yeah, we might get some content growth, but we got to be able to connect with the people that are looking to book us. Because this goes back to my last video, or even maybe the next video, depending on how I release them. But I talk about like having a good personality on set, like drives referrals more than just being a dick on set. Like, just simply put, like you really gotta build that connection with people. So that was 3 quick things that will help you stand out in an oversaturated market. And yeah, catch y'all.